One day I asked you how the market was, and you were just slammed all day over there, and you looked at me and you were like, man, I love to talk about tomatoes. My name's Josh Poling. I'm the chef owner of Home Cafe and Marketplace in Bowling Green, Kentucky. And I'm out here today at Needmore Acres Farm with Nathan and Michelle Howell. Nathan and I have been friends and business partners for a little over a year now. Nathan works at the community farmers market, and I kind of approached him last year of, hey, I'm opening this restaurant. Nobody knew who I was or what to expect or anything, but Nathan started bringing me heirloom tomatoes. And eventually, last year, he brought me one of my very favorite products, the Concord grape, which is actually what we're standing surrounded by right now. In addition to these, you also oversee Western Kentucky's vineyards, and so you're a great man. Why don't you talk to us some about the grapes, Nathan, kind of how you bring them up, the importance of having grapes in this area. Someone told me recently Kentucky was the second largest wine producing state before Prohibition started. And I know there's a lot of efforts right now to kind of bring that winemaking or the artisan craftsmanship back to Kentucky.
That's true. The art of viticulture is coming back to the state of Kentucky. Pre-Prohibition, we were actually ranked second, third in that ballpark, only behind Missouri and I believe North Carolina at that time. Unfortunately, Prohibition County really put a hold on the vines. They were literally pulled out of the ground at that time. And from that, a lot of producers, when Prohibition was over, they did not return back to vineyards and so forth. They actually went into tobacco production. So that's where we saw the big increase in the state of Kentucky in tobacco production. We're kind of seeing the reverse of that now, with tobacco being a crop that a lot of farmers are moving away from because of not having price supports and so forth, and having to have a contract base with local tobacco companies. They're moving away from that, and we're seeing an increase again in the number of vines that are being planted. For example, in 1999, there was somewhere around 50 acres of vines actually recorded planted. Today we're looking at around 700 to 800 vines. So in just a 10, 15 year window there, we're seeing drastic increases. We're seeing a lot of dollars put into it from the university standpoint. Both Western Kentucky University and the University of Kentucky, Kentucky State, and even Murray all have some form of emphasis in viticulture and enology, the art of making wine itself. There's a passion in the community. Like you said, I worked out at Western's Vineyard, and we have numerous members of the community just come in there, tour our vineyards, and actually they have a passion of putting the vines in the ground themselves. So yes, it is an art that's coming back to Kentucky. And as you can see here behind us, we have a few vines. This is a very small, young vineyard. These are actually 3-year-old vines, which have done real well. Normally, a grape does not produce fruit until the 3rd year, or we as viticulturists will not allow that to produce fruit until the 3rd year. We want the emphasis to go into the roots and the trunks and the cordons. We want all the energy to go there the first couple, 2-3 years of that.
Okay. And we talk a lot, for you, it's all about the science of growing thing. You and I always joke that you grow it, I'll cook it, and we just leave the lines there. And I always joke with you, like, those are good grapes, and it's like you coming into my restaurant and be like, that's good food. Like, of course it is. That's why I pay you the big bucks, and that's why you pay me the big bucks to eat the food. But my favorite part about these grapes, Nathan, is the unreal flavor. I mean, when you eat a grape off the vine like this, it's nothing like what there is in the store, and
it's totally different.
Yeah.
When it's almost with any perishable type product. If you're able to let that mature fully on the vine and get that to your restaurant or get that to a farmer's market in a matter of literally hours after it's picked off the vine, you're getting full flavor. You're not getting that across the country or across the world in today's terms.
Yep.
We're not just talking California anymore. We're talking Chile, European grapes. We're talking a lot of travel time for those grapes to get to your dinner plate or to your restaurant even.
Yeah.
So when we can cut that down from me harvesting here in the morning and getting that to you in the afternoon, you've got to have that flavor in there.
Yeah.
And I can allow that to fully mature on the vine too, where those guys, if they did that, by the time it got to your dinner plate, there would be nothing but seed pretty much left in that. So
yeah, I had a neat experience this weekend with the grapes because I had friends in from Chicago, and one of my favorite things about being a chef in Kentucky is I'm able to show off so much local product that I know is growing in my backyard. And you know, in Kentucky they've got in Chicago they've got rooftop gardens, but they don't have any, you know, there's nothing like this in downtown Chicago. Yeah. And so I got to take them out some of the grapes, and I was like, have you guys ever had Concord grapes fresh off the vine? And of course they hadn't. Yeah. And they were just blowing away. I mean, the closest comparison is like eating grape juice. I mean, that for me, that's the closest thing. But when you have this, there's no processed sugar. It's just, I mean, it's nature, you know, it's just a fresh fruit.
It's right off the vine.
Right off the vine.
Yep.
So now we're here up by your tomatoes. You're kind of, in my opinion, Mr. Tomato in Bowling Green. You're known at the farmer's market for your heirloom tomatoes. I would say the majority of your customers initially began buying from you for your tomatoes and your tomato varieties. We're here right now. This is one of my very favorite products that you provide me and that hit my table every day, and it's the green tomato. We tell the story that last year we had the freeze and you came to me and you were like, can you use these green tomatoes anything? I saw, hey, cheap produce, might as well use it, and the fried green tomato pizza was born. One of the most successful menu items at Home Cafe and Marketplace, and now the fried green tomatoes from your farm are actually featured on the Summer in the South sandwich as well. Talk to us a little bit about just your tomatoes in general, how many varieties you grow, and the care that goes into them.
Yeah, that's you're probably correct. We're probably best known for our heirloom tomatoes. Here on Needmore Acres Farm, we have 24 varieties, and we try to keep that fresh every year. We do have our standard 10 or 12 that we grow each year, but I guess my passion is to experiment and try those other varieties that nobody else is trying out there. Of course, that separates us in the market also. And in those varieties, I mean, we'll grow multiple colors. We'll grow anything from a bicolored yellow and orange to black to greens that are ripe when they're green. Unlike the fried green ones, you wouldn't be able to fry those. They'd be so soft. And we'll have every color in the rainbow in between there. So yes, we really do have a passion for those. As you can see, those are grown on what is called plasticulture. That is plastic mulch, and beneath that is trickle irrigation. And what most people don't do is we have these staked here, and that's called the Florida weed. What that allows me to do as a producer, it allows me to keep that tomato up off the ground. It keeps it a lot cleaner. When I bring it in to you there at the restaurant, you don't have to do excess washing and so forth. And it allows airflow through there for disease potential, and allows for a lot easier harvest also on that. So in essence, we're using somewhat commercial measures to grow on a local basis. We're getting the win-win of both situations there, in my opinion.
I know for me, Nathan, one of the things that I care so much about Home Cafe is I try to make every plate spectacular, and I tell Chelsea and I tell all my customers that I love to cook food, and I love to talk about food, and I love to make it for my customers. One of my favorite memories from you is one day I asked you how the market was, and you were just slammed all day over there, and you looked at me and you were like, man, I love to talk about tomatoes. And that's something that's so cool. It's me getting to buy from a vendor like you, to see people that care so much about what they're doing. Even when you come out here, you can tell, I mean, this, where Home Cafe is mine and Chelsea's whole life, this is your and Michelle's whole life. I mean, your heart and soul, everything you do. Even as we're doing this right now, Michelle's walking around picking weeds off, doing everything to maintain this. So that's so cool for me to get to see your heart and your passion actually growing in the field.
Yeah, and I tell you, you hit on a topic there that we really feel involved in the farmers markets, that community aspect of it. We have customers, of course, most of our customers raise their own tomatoes, and we'll share seed with them, and we'll give them tips throughout the growing season. They'll bring, if something's wrong with their tomato plant, they'll bring part of it in and let us look at it and try to help them out the best we can. So it's, you know, it's just a educational opportunity, and that's what Michelle and I really like to focus on too. You know, passing that on not just keeping it all to ourselves. You know, there's a lot that we could pass on, not only to us as adults, but the next generations and so forth, and we don't want that to be lost. We've had to relearn a lot ourselves and just beg and ask questions, and we don't want it to be that hard for everybody. If somebody needs help, we want to be able to help them. And even if it's in heirloom tomatoes that most people would see as my competition, I'll be more than willing to help them. I give them my seed sources. I give them the varieties that I raise. We have a tomato fest out here. People can come taste them, see how they're grown. We do an educational component in that. So yeah, I mean, it's more than just selling the tomato to us.
Talk to me a little bit about what an heirloom variety is. We always hear the word, especially in my industry.
Yeah.
What is an heirloom variety versus what I would go to Kroger and buy?
There are multiple definitions, scientific definitions of an heirloom. The one we follow here at Needmore Acres is we try to find local first, that has a tomato that has a local history to it, whether that be surrounding states. Kentucky, a lot of them have history that stems from Kentucky or Tennessee, and we're raising some of those varieties here on our farm. If we can find that inside the package of what I define a true heirloom is, of being at least 100 years old or older, so that 100 years from today that plant was in production in its state, that it's not been hybridized or been made to look so uniform. So when you go to the grocery store, most likely you're seeing a hybrid tomato. All these characteristics of what we're talking about an heirloom: flavor, color, in my opinion, beauty. Some people call them ugly. They have unique shapes and sizes and all different things to them. Most of them are soft. They don't have very much of a shelf life. I'm sure you know that, but now by using them. So once you get them, you've got to use them or you lose them. All that was bred out, and what you're finding now, you can go to the grocery stores or the big box stores, and that's what you're going to see. You're going to see a uniform tomato that you could probably throw against the floor, and it's not going to change it very much. Some flavor, but very little. For example, at another restaurant here in town, I had a tomato on my sandwich, and I couldn't say that it tasted bad or good because it had no taste at all.
Yeah.
You know, I couldn't say it was bad because it didn't taste bad. It just wasn't an heirloom. So, so in essence, when all that was bred away, that's what we wind up with.
My favorite part of the heirloom is, like you said, just the flavor. And the flavor and the texture, and they come in all different flavors, but my favorite one, you get like a little bit of the acidity and a little bit of the sweetness, and then there's a crispness, but it's not tough. It's just, that's the way a tomato should be.
We just left the vineyard here. I describe growing heirloom tomatoes as a vineyard in itself. They're trellised just like a grape. They mature just like a grape. If you let them hang on the vine and get that full flavor, in essence, you're letting that ripen to be, in essence, the same as a wine. And every wine is different, every grape is different, every season is different. So you're going to get a vintage. So in essence, you're getting a vintage of an heirloom, in my opinion, each year here in the state of Kentucky.